My name's Brian Hayden. I'm the managing partner at Heatspring. And Heatspring is an education company. We're a learning and development platform for clean energy companies. And our goal is to help professionals deploy more clean energy. So we have classes and certifications and training for people that do that kind of work or who want to do that kind of work.
Why does working at a B Corp matter to you?
Well, I think I had a lot of negative early career experiences that showed me that it can really suck sometimes, work and having to earn a living but I went to business school and I really like working in business, and I've seen it also have a lot of really positive impacts. And I always equated work with fun and making money and being around people. So I had a lot of really positive experiences working, and I had some very negative experiences working. And when I tried to think about what the difference was, the really positive experiences were times in which I could treat people the way they deserve to be treated, and I felt that I was treated the way I deserved to be treated. And there was transparency and fairness, and everybody benefited from what was happening. And the times when it was negative, it felt like more zero-sum game, and there were winners and losers. And so when I saw, I don't think there's a perfect way to organize. I think there's always going to be some negative things that could happen, but the B Corp impact assessment provided a set of metrics and processes that were as close as I'd seen to the types of things that I wanted to be optimizing around. And I don't think there's any way you could come up with perfect metrics, but it was the best I've come across. And so given that I had the ability to kind of put my time and attention wherever I want, I thought this is the type of structure that I want to be participating in. And, we're only a year in, but I really do think that it's delivered as I hoped it would.
How has becoming B Corp certified, that decision, shaped your mission and culture today?
I would say the B Corp certification has allowed us to deepen relationships inside and outside of the company. And so internally, it's been a really nice frame for our conversations about how we're doing. And so I think that's probably the most powerful thing. But it's also, we've connected with other people in our industry who have B Corp certification. One example of that is Amicus O&M Cooperative is a cooperative of solar companies that kind of band together to find better approaches to operations and maintenance, which is a really important but underserved part of the solar industry. And a lot of the Amicus O&M co-op members are B corporations. And about a year ago, we started to do a partnership where we distributed the Amicus O&M training for solar O&M. And I think that it made us all feel really comfortable working together because we had those B Corp certifications in common. And I think even though we probably could have gotten that done without our B Corp certification, it just kind of made everybody feel a little bit more comfortable. It added a little bit of trust to the relationship earlier on. And it's been a really nice, positive relationship that I feel grateful for. So I would say it's kind of like the bat signal that you can throw up and connect with other, companies that get it. Maybe a lot of customers don't see it or care, but the ones that do understand it tend to have positive feelings about it. And so it kind of makes those relationships better.
I agree with you. There's strength in numbers. And when you have a strong community foundation to really pull from in the B Corp community, it really does make you feel a little bit more reassured, but also just feeling a little bit more validated when you come to others with, hey, maybe I'm struggling, and bringing these other measurable goals to fruition. How did you manage to do that in your business? That's at least really what I've seen of the value of being involved with the Be Local community here in Michigan, which is our program for Michigan. What sustainable development goals are you currently working on at Heatspring?
Well, last year we became a certified B Corporation, and that was something that was really exciting. We've been in business for 18 years and thought about doing the B Corp process for about 10 years probably, but it always seemed like maybe it would be too intimidating or hard because we're a small organization. And through that process, we learned a lot about like the strengths and weaknesses of our organization. Every organization is different, and we're small, decentralized, and we do a lot of like really good work. Like our environmental impact is really good because we're literally teaching people to do clean energy. And we also scored really high with customers, because we're doing education, like we have really good survey feedback from all of our customers showing that they're really happy and they've done well with what we've done. I'd say the goals, like what we need to work on and do better. I would say community engagement, because we're a decentralized company. We don't have like a big physical presence within any city. And so we're like a little more diffuse, and it's harder to have like a big concentrated impact in one place. And then the other thing that we are working on is governance, because we are so small and we just haven't had a need to like put a lot of governance in place. So, we thought it'd be really cool to become like a worker-owned cooperative, but just being a handful of people, it's like the model just doesn't quite make sense. So we need to do something a little more creative probably. And I'd say those two things are what I want to work on, in the years ahead, is like community impact and governance.
How has using the B impact assessment influenced concrete changes in your operations, such as governance, workers, community, or environmental practices?
Well, the scoring of the impact assessment, I know that it's evolving, but as of last year, I know the scores, you had to get an 80 on the assessment to qualify to be a certified B Corp, and it goes up to 250. And our score was 92.3. And so that was good enough to get us, through the process, and I'm proud of it. But man, we have a long way to go up to that 250. So I think there's a lot of work we still have left ahead of us. I would say a really concrete example for me, that in a way that it's helped us stay aligned on like the right types of goals, is like we're an education company. We have like 400 different online courses, and probably at least half of them are free. And the reason that we started to do that was kind of like freemium, similar to like a software company. Like, it's a way for people to kind of learn a little bit about our model and get familiar with us. And then when they wanted to buy something, hopefully they would choose us. And so it was definitely like a business decision to do that freemium. But what we noticed is like a lot of people who are never going to probably pay us anything take the free classes. I would say there's like a lot of engagement from developing countries, and the what they're learning is like about solar energy and things, and we've always liked that. We've always wanted that to be. We thought that was a cool thing, but sometimes it's hard to like justify continuing to provide those types of resources if you're just looking at profit, you know?
Right.
So I would say adding the B Corp metrics has allowed us to kind of lean into some of those types of things that we always liked doing, and we knew that it was good that we were doing it, but sometimes it can be hard to kind of like quantify that versus other things that you can spend your time and resources doing. So I would say the impact assessment has helped us continue to offer more free courses for people who can use them, even though, you know, in a traditional business model, it might be harder to justify those things.
Yeah, and I do hear what you're saying. For business owners in particular, it's hard. I mean, you always want to put people first over profits. That's really what it comes down to. And it can be very, very difficult to do that, especially if you don't have tools at your disposal to help you measure and keep track of that, right? But in reality, that is why, you know, I see that Heatspring chose to become certified, because in truth, you are trying your best to remove barriers so that way folks can really have a better understanding of how you can even pivot your own business or your own understanding in your personal life as to how you can start to use renewable energy as well as improve your relationship with the environment. It's not something easy to complete and get done in a day, right? But because you've been able to implement those measurements into the success of your business, I mean, it's awesome to see. You said you have over 400 free classes. Is that what you mentioned?
Well, yeah, over 400 classes, but
That's
about half of them are free, you know, so it's a couple hundred, yeah.
That's still a really big deal. I mean, again, it's really, I see the value of you all really appreciate the communities that you're in and you want to be inclusive as opposed to being extractive. And I feel like, again, I said it before, but that's what makes you different and that's what makes you stand out.